So, let's talk about fear. My name is Paul, and I'm an Oxford qualified psychologist who teaches people how to learn more easily and live more fully. Fear is one of those emotions that's both ancient and utterly contemporary. It's wired into us, hardwired by evolution, and yet it shows up in ways that can be completely absurd, like sweating over whether an algorithm will steal your job, or worrying that the world is going to be taken over by an unpredictable foreign power, while your cat judges you slightly from the corner of the room. Now, it's helpful to start by drawing a distinction. There is healthy fear, and there is unhealthy fear. Healthy fear is immediate, short-lived, and grounded in reality. It's the instinct that tells you to run away when a lion is charging, or to slam on the brakes when the car in front of you decides that it hates physics. It's sharp, precise, and enormously adaptive. It saves lives. William James, the Anglo-American psychologist, described emotion, fear in particular, as not just a mental state, but something that energizes the body to act, to survive, and to escape danger. Unhealthy fear, on the other hand, is low-level, persistent, and usually about things that aren't about to bite you, literally or figuratively. It's the constant hum of anxiety that whispers, someone will take your job, your status, your safety, your sense of meaning, and it keeps your body perpetually on edge, like a car idling at full throttle whilst you're parked in your driveway. This kind of fear doesn't save lives, it diminishes them. It erodes concentration, creativity, and joy. It hijacks our physiology for threats that are largely abstract, distant, or even imagined. Cognitive psychologists like Richard Lazarus have argued that the intensity of fear isn't just about the stimulus itself, but about our appraisal of the stimulus. When your brain interprets something as a genuine threat, cortisol spikes, your heart races, and you experience all the classic fight-or-flight physiology. But if that appraisal is off, if you're continuously interpreting political rhetoric, social media posts, or news headlines as existential threats, your body never gets a break. Chronic activation of the stress response is toxic. It can damage memory, lower immunity, and even accelerate the aging process. It's basically like leaving a smoke alarm going off in your living room all day, every day. Contrast this with the fear of a lion, or a genuinely dangerous situation. That fear is temporary, focused, and allows for recovery. Once the danger is gone, your body can return to baseline. Healthy fear is like a sprint. Unhealthy fear is like being stuck on a treadmill set to eternal incline with no exit in sight. Another layer comes from evolutionary theory. Joseph Ledoux, a neuroscientist who studied the brain's fear circuits extensively, has demonstrated that the amygdala is central to fear processing. It reacts faster than conscious thought, often before you even realize what's happening. In the ancestral environment, that speed saved lives. If a rustle in the bushes was a lion, hesitation could mean death. But in the modern world, that same circuitry can misfire. The rustle might be a harmless email notification, or a headline designed to provoke outrage. Our brains can't always tell the difference between a real and a symbolic threat. And, of course, that means that unhealthy fear can get really tricky. It fosters rigidity in thinking, intolerance of uncertainty, and a narrow focus on worst-case scenarios. People become obsessed with control in areas that they have little to no control at all. Anxiety about immigration, economic shifts, or geopolitical power is, in small doses, understandable. It motivates caution and planning. But when it becomes chronic, it starts to constrain our capacity to think creatively, to empathize with the other, to take risks, and frankly, to enjoy life. Plus, it often leads us to believe things that are irrational because we are so emotionally connected to them. Generally speaking, it's best not to think of unhealthy fear as a moral failing, but as an adaptation which has perhaps gone a bit astray. Our brains are exquisitely tuned to detect danger, but not to distinguish between a lion and a headline. Recognizing this is the first step toward reclaiming perspective. So, how do we recalibrate? Awareness, first and foremost. Notice when fear is proportional to reality. Ask yourself, am I responding to something immediate and tangible or something abstract and unlikely? Mindfulness and reflective practice can help your body return to baseline and allow rational prefrontal cortex processing to override an overactive amygdala. Exposing yourself to accurate information and limiting exposure to sensationalized content can also temper the chronic low-grade anxiety that most of us swim in on a daily basis. Finally, humor is surprisingly powerful. After all, as I often tell my students, it's pretty hard to be laughing and anxious at the same time. Doesn't usually happen. So, a well-timed laugh at our own irrational dread isn't just pleasant, it literally shifts brain chemistry in ways that lower cortisol and boost resilience. Sometimes the best antidote to fear of the world taking over is a reminder that humans are funny creatures who have survived far worse, often with barely a plan, and yet somehow they got breakfast in the morning anyway. So the distinction is clear. Healthy fear protects and mobilizes. Unhealthy fear constrains and corrodes. One sharpens life, the other narrows it. And the irony is that both originate from the same ancient, brilliant, and occasionally overzealous survival system. Learning to recognize which is which and giving our minds and our bodies the space to relax might just be one of the simplest ways to live more fully. And, as always, if you did find any of these ideas useful, well, perhaps give a follow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.